Mickey Dolenz. How are you, Mickey?
How you doing?
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. We're doing well. I was probably 6 years old when I watched the Monkees on television with my sister. My sister was in love with the Monkees. You know, she had all Headquarters and all the great albums. But I wanted to become a drummer because I thought that guy, Mickey Dolenz, was the coolest guy in the world. And I had my parents buy me a drum set because I wanted to be Mickey in the Monkees.
Oh, cool. Did you ever play drums?
Yeah, I still do.
Oh, excellent.
You started me on the path to being a drummer. That's, you know what? And I bet you hear that a lot, though, because people who grew up in that era, they saw the Monkees having so much fun. It was every boy's fantasy to be a Monkee.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing the show, too, I got to tell you. I was a guitar player. I was cast as the drummer. But I had about a year, before I had to play live to practice after the show, after they cast me in the show. I was a guitar player. I still am. I still play guitar on stage mostly. My audition piece was Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry. I had already done a lot of television and film work already at the time. I had a series when I was a kid called Circus Boy on NBC, and my parents were both in the business, and so I had already done The Monkees was my second series. So I'd already had a lot of experience, and so I was very, very comfortable on the set. And and I was a big fan, and of people like Danny Kaye and Jerry Lewis and Red Skelton and all those comics of the 40s and 50s. And so I think a lot of my shtick and stuff came from those influences.
Right.
Kind of two and two. Davey and I both had mostly theatrical film backgrounds. I mean, you had to, and Peter and Mike had mostly musical backgrounds, but you had to be able to do it all to even get in the auditions. You had to be able to sing. You had to be able to act. You had to be able to play an instrument. And like I say, I played guitar. And so it was but David and I had more theatrical backgrounds. David had been on Broadway already.
Yeah, right.
In Oliver.
Right.
As the Artful Dodger. I don't think it was sort of planned. I mean, they didn't say, well, we're going to have two guys that are mostly musicians and two guys that are mostly actors. That they were going for personalities, because the screen tests that we did were extensive. It went on and on and on, much more intensive than any screen test I had ever done. You know what? It was a lot like the way you cast a Broadway musical. Because let's face it, ultimately the Monkees was like putting a little Marx Brothers movie on television every week.
Right.
In fact, it was John Lennon that first made that observation, even before I'd thought about it. He said the Monkees are like the Marx Brothers. The Monkees were much more like, say, the Marx Brothers than they really were the Beatles. The Monkees was a television show about a band that wanted to be the Beatles. But
you became so huge that it took on a life of its own outside of what it was supposed to be.
That's exactly right. Like Mike Nesmith once said, it's like Pinocchio becoming a real little boy.
You guys toured with Jimi Hendrix in the days of those odd pairings. He toured with you.
He was our opening act, and I had suggested, I'd seen him at Monterey Pop Festival, and I had suggested to the producers, he wasn't very well known yet, and I said he would make a good opening act because he's very theatrical, which he was. He was a very theatrical act. And I thought it would make interesting theater, shall we say. And I guess they did, too, because he was our opening act for a while. We had Ike and Tina Turner. We had The Fifth Dimension, a couple of other opening acts.
Some legendary tours back then, if you look through the annals of rock and roll. Here's the thing about the Monkees. It was such a hip TV show. There were a lot of good inside jokes, and it was really a favorite with the rock stars of the day. Frank Zappa, big fan. The Beatles were fans. John Lennon, like you said, compared to the Marx Brothers.
There was a lot of people that got it. There was also a lot of people that didn't get it. There's still a lot of people that didn't get what the Monkees was all about. A lot of to this day, I've had people come up. In fact, even people like in the business or journalists, and say, "So, how long had you guys been together before you got the television show?" Oh, please.
Yeah, right.
Do your homework, please. Like I said, ultimately, the Monkees was a television show about an imaginary group that lived in this imaginary beach house, and it was a set, and we had these imaginary adventures, with all the monsters and the bad guys. And it was about this band that wanted to be famous, and because on the television show, we were never famous on the television show. We were always struggling
Yeah, trying to make
famous.
it, right.
And I think that's one of the things that endeared it to a lot of people, because all the kids out there could relate to that.
Well, and they still do. See, it's timeless humor
Yeah.
that finds a new audience with each new generation, and the music is some of the best pop music ever recorded. So that's got to be...
Look who was writing those songs.
Oh, the greatest.
King and Jerry Goffin, Neil Diamond, Neil Sedaka, Boyce and Hart,
right.
Diane Hildebrand, Carol Bayer Sager, David Gates.
Harry Nilsson.
Harry Nilsson.
Yeah.
I mean, you have that kind of pedigree, and it's pretty hard to mess it up.
But that's got to be rewarding to see, a body of work in your career continue to find new audiences.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. When I do concerts, there'll sometimes be 3 generations of people there.
Mickey Dolenz is on the phone with us, and we're talking to you also about your new TV show, your new foray on Gone Country. Tell us about that.
Well, it's called Gone Country, hosted by John Rich. It's it's a reality show, and I swore I'd never do a reality show, but this one turned out to be pretty cool. The point of the show is that you go to Nashville and you live there and you kind of go country and get into the country music lifestyle, and you write a song with some incredible songwriters, which I did, and it came out pretty good. I'm very proud of the song I wrote, and the show came out pretty good. It's pretty funny, and it premieres next Saturday, the 24th, on CMT. It's called Gone Country. It's myself, and it's Taylor Dane, and Sheila E., and George Clinton.
That's awesome. The last people you would think would be country artists making a country song.
Well, that's the point of the show. They take people who aren't country, and and you go through all these little challenges, and you kind of go country.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you're going to be here Saturday for the World of Wheels in McCormick Place in Chicago.
Yeah, I am. I come in. I'm going to do an autograph signing, and one of the reasons I do that, and I hope a lot of fans will be able to get by, is because a portion of the proceeds goes to my favorite charity, which is Make-A-Wish.
Nice. And Make-A-Wish, for those who don't know, grants wishes for kids who are not feeling real good, and then they let them do something that they've always dreamt of doing.
Yep.
Great stuff. How'd you get involved with them?
Oh, I've been involved for years and years and years. I was originally a wish for somebody. Some kid wanted to meet me years and years ago, and I was a wish. And then I just stayed involved. I do quite a bit of work for them. I also do other things. I direct, I produce, I write, I paint. I do. I work in many different fields of the entertainment industry, or the world of the arts. I can't say I have a preference. I get interested or involved in a particular project. I'll get fired up about something. It may be a TV show I'm working on, or it may be a record. It may be, I love touring. I love going on the road. I don't like the traveling part, but I love going and doing my solo rock and roll show. I tell you what I've been doing a lot of recently over the last few years is a lot of Broadway musical work. I did Aida, the Elton John musical. I did that on the road and on Broadway for nearly 2 years. In fact, I was sitting in my dressing room. This is an interesting little side note. I was sitting in my dressing room on Broadway doing this musical a couple years ago and adding up all the performances I'd done and how long I'd been working on this Elton John musical. And I figured it out that I had worked on Aida longer than I worked on the Monkees.
Look at that.
Yeah. Pippin, the national tour. I did Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. I did Grease. So I must say I really love doing musical theater.
Yeah, sounds like it. And you stay busy. You have a daughter. You have 4 daughters, right?
Yeah.
And Amy has done some cool stuff, too. She's an actress. Now, when she first told you, Dad, I think I want to kind of follow this path, what was your advice for her?
Get a good lawyer. Yeah, no, I encourage. I didn't encourage or discourage her. She decided that about 16 or something like that she said, I want to be an actress, and I thought that was good because she didn't say I want to be a star. She said I want to be an actress, and so I did give her quite a bit of advice, and I still do, over the years. And she's dipped in and out of it. She did a lot of work for a few years, and then got married and sort of backed off a little bit. She's been thinking about getting back into it now. She's
very natural on screen, very good.
Yeah.
I like watching her. I saw her in some crazy horror film. Ticks?
She loves doing those horror films.
Was she in a movie called Ticks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was kind of a throwback to the 50s.
She loves doing those horror films. It's the funniest thing. And she can't stand the sight of blood. She can't even, if she, gets a splinter in her finger, she's, goes hysterical.
Listen,
and loves watching those horror films. It's the funniest thing.
We want people to visit your website, too, to stay abreast of all
MickeyDolenz.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
MickeyDolenz.com.
MickeyDolenz.com.
That'll keep you up to date on what I'm doing.
And we're going to see you at the World of Wheels Saturday. It's this weekend, so Saturday, noon until 4. And stop by, say hello to Mickey, share some memories, and get an autograph. And that goes to Make-A-Wish Foundation. That's awesome. And Gone Country, the 24th, debuts as well. So get home, and it'll be Mickey Dolenz Day here. We'll see you at the World of Wheels, and we'll go home and watch you on Gone Country. Excellent stuff.
Okay, buddy.
Well, it's good to talk to you, and best to you.
Great talking to you. Thanks.